What's going on, everybody? We are here in the lovely basement of Thomas Liquors in St. Paul at Grand and Pryor Avenues. I'm here with Fitty, aka Joe Fitzpatrick, but no one knows who that is. Everybody knows Fitty. This is the first of hopefully a series of Fitty and Chips beer reviews.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Fitty. I thought yeah. Fits and Chips because anyway.
Well, that fits.
So what we want to do here is not necessarily review beers per se, but we want to just kind of talk about when beers kind of fit in a category, what that range is like. Every now and then maybe we'll do a solo beer, but today we've gathered 3 of the freshest fresh hop beers because they're going quick. We're literally down here in the basement because like upstairs they're selling them so fast. We don't want to get in the way
because it's stealing right out of our hands.
So we've got a local Minnesota version with Mosaic IPA from Castle Danger. We've got Chasin Freshies from Deschutes, and we've got the Grand Pappy of fresh hopped IPAs, Celebration. We're just going to talk through them, drink them. Fitty's going to tell us a little bit what it's about, like buying and selling these, and maybe we'll wrap a little bit about the technical side of brewing them. First up, cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for coming in on your off day.
Thanks for having me, Chip and Fitz.
So, Castle Danger, Two Harbors, Minnesota. North Shore, fresh hopped with all Mosaic, and they call it fresh Mosaic. As I've noticed in a lot of these descriptions, people started calling them fresh, whatever. Whereas, which makes sense, but they want to like brand it and put it out there.
Sure, exactly.
Pale ale malt, Munich, Carapils, almost 7%. But obviously, we don't grow a lot of hops on the North Shore of Lake Superior. So these get flown in from the Pacific Northwest, they say. Super fresh, get put in the brew, big, fluffy, wet, not yet dried cones. And you say this is one that people come shaking the tree for.
I was telling Chip earlier off air, I believe that the Mosaic IPA from Castle Danger is probably the most sought out one locally, at least as far as our customer base. Its first iteration, I don't know how many years ago now, or second, was unbelievable. They set a precedent right out of the gate, and people have really looked forward to this coming out every year since. And now they are committed to the bit, and whether they like it or not, they got to be making this Mosaic fresh hop beer, and it certainly doesn't disappoint this year. It's clean and beautiful and herbaceous.
It's got this nice oily, little bit piney, but kind of like berry. I get a little bit of like blueberry, raspberry, kind of that like fresh summer berry. You mentioned something just there that we definitely want to talk about, the fluctuation of a crop. These are not like pellets that have gone through a lab yet and they know every detail about them. They're pretty much like, hope that lot that we asked for turns out real well, right?
Exactly. You're beholden to whatever Mother Nature gives for that year's harvest. And I think with that variation, there's a lot of risk, and I think a lot of breweries have decided against it. I don't know if anyone's noticed, but years ago there were a lot more fresh hop beers out there, and I think it's just too challenging, too expensive. Logistically, it's difficult, and also too, you're subject to variations from the hop harvest from year to year, which some years. It's just not that great.
Yeah.
This is all just my personal speculation. I don't work for a brewery or anything like that. But
not a doctor.
I'm not a doctor.
What do you get note-wise before we move on?
The fresh cut grass, that herbaceous character, which I just adore in fresh hop beers, and that's what these things are all about. It's showcase that hops. There's a little beer going on also, but it's all about the hops.
A little beer going on. Up against the other two, this one definitely kind of stands out a little bit with that dank, musky, that goodness. A little funky, dare
just
say.
A little bit. Yep.
So Deschutes, full disclosure, I got snared by a sales rep. I came in to buy other beers, and Mike from Deschutes, a local rep.
Mike Lewis, awesome guy. He'll snare anyone with great beer.
Well, yeah, he was sampling this beer. I looked at the bottom. I'm a can bottom looker.
Oh, right.
It was canned
He's
like
one of them.
28 days before, maybe. So I was like, I'm in. It was, if you're within a month and you got a fresh hot beer, It's cold at Thomas. I'm like, I'm in. So
and Deschutes has such a good reputation of, everything they make is going to be fantastic, pretty much.
So he told me a story that basically they kind of fluctuate the variety every year. This year, fresh hop with Idaho 7 fresh hops, and then Idaho 7 dry hop, which I assume means pellet, partly because it says fresh for this part, and dry hops you usually wouldn't go wet hop because of bacteria. Who's holding them for 2 weeks? They're no longer fresh hop. So probably pellets and dry hop, but fresh hop, I'm assuming, in Whirlpool. And as I said, I would kind of talk about a little bit. This is just 2-row wheat, 6%. I learned the hard way through doing a video in which we brewed a whole bunch of fresh hops from like a backyard hop and just poured it in. We're like, we're continually wet hopping this beer. Yeah. People like, good job making asparagus stew, idiot. Oh. So and from having been at a brew day at Surly for wet years and years and years ago, I know basically the way these are treated is you flame out and then you dump these fresh hops as you're whirlpooling. So they're definitely below boiling temperature. Maybe even they cool it a little bit to get it to like 180, 170. You want to pull these oils and these flavors, but you don't want to necessarily cook the vegetable part, thus releasing the asparagus and the broccoli.
That, it's yet another challenging thing for brewers where every other batch that they make in the brewing schedule and things like that, it's like, this one you kind of only have one shot, one go at it.
Right.
And I didn't know that you were spot on where it is in the brewing process that these fresh hop flowers and cones are going in, and
I believe they're, for the most part, you would expect one, especially if it's calling itself an IPA, to be bittered, probably with another hop of known acid, alpha acid. In this case, they don't really say that, so this could be like, what's going on? You need to get past?
No, I just wanted to come see what's going on.
Oh, we're talking to this little camera about fresh hop beers. Hey!
Hi, Ham. This is Ham.
Hi.
You love fresh hop beers.
Not really.
Okay. A touch of sweetness on this. Just a little sweeter.
I was wondering, I think that might be more of the hop, too. Because I think hops often give this, like, sweetness perception. That's from whatever kind of fruit. And they, to their own tasting notes, tangerine, apricot, papaya, paired with pine resin. Come back to the Mosaic. Now that dank, like, pops out.
Right.
Because we've kind of neutralized the sweetness in the fruit.
Yeah.
Whereas here, it's, like, big on that kind of tropic flavor a little bit. Definitely not a beer that you get vintages of.
No.
You don't do vintages and be like, oh, it'd be cool to have the Idaho 7 from this year and then next year's Simcoe or Strata or whatever. You're like, dude, drink it fresh. It's literally got the word fresh on the packaging.
Right. Don't hang on to this.
That is delicious. I feel like that ends a little bit more with like this hoppy pop to it, which could maybe be the dry hop. I don't know if Castle Dangerous was dry hop. Might not have I don't know either. Last hidden layer.
Yeah, right.
But
boy, it is what does make you want to drink more, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
We've got more. But so these two were gold, which we both talked about earlier. They probably want to go pale, super pale ale, gold, blonde, really push those hop, that hop element in the balance. What we're finishing with is the granddaddy, the grandfather, godfather, fresh hop beers. And Sierra Nevada don't play that golden game.
Nope.
And I think that's because when it came out, it really was meant to be like this late fall, winter, almost seasonal.
Okay, sure.
And I think they probably wanted to be like, this is a flip on the winter warmer. This is a winter warmer for hopheads.
Okay.
Right?
Oh, wow. That's very well articulated.
I mean, it's literally on the can, and it's never changed. I don't think in many years they've done it. It's a cabin scene, snow-covered cabin. So cheers.
Cheers, Ship.
Celebration, fresh hop IPA.
This is cause for celebration.
So on social the last like week or so, that is so good.
I know.
It's so Sierra too, though.
Yeah.
Everything from like the Christmas, that malt. It is like pale ale and torpedo, just like up a little bit.
Yep. Dry bitterness. I just want to
It's almost like the whale that's not necessarily a whale. Like, people really brag about finding this and getting it, but it's not like it's darkness or abyss, right? It's going to be available.
Yeah.
But people love it. From a retail side, do you just start getting calls? Or, like, how is it that people kind of express their joy when they see that red 12-pack?
They do. This is, on a local scale, I was saying the Mosaic fresh hop from Castle Danger, probably, in my opinion, the most sought out for what's coming out of Minnesota. But nationally, this is the daddy. And they've been doing it for so long. And what else is new? It's Sierra Nevada being a trailblazer in the industry, and I think we're lucky that they have economies of scale. I mean, there are 2 breweries on both coasts,
Yep.
And I'm sure great contracts, and they can have the resources to make this every year and get it out to the masses, and more than just a 2 or 3 week window. What's interesting is that this is one that people just count on, rely on every year. And when's it coming? And and its arrival date is pretty much the same. And so this is one of those fresh hop beers that's an exception. It's like you do know what to expect. You know it's going to be in decent quantity, and it's always great. And it's you can always rely on it every year when the season comes.
I'd like to insert a real quick correction here of sorts, and it goes to something I had meant to talk to Fitty about when we were doing this video, and that is this idea of fresh versus wet hops. Over the years, they've pretty much become synonymous. I think a wet vine, right off the vine hops going into a kettle, people call them fresh and wet. But with Celebration, I was kind of reminded after we shot our tasting notes, and I was thinking back, I found an article and a video out of Sierra Nevada that I'll link below because it just shows the awesome process that they actually go through. They're not actually wet hopped. They are indeed whole cone hops that are dried. They're processed and dried, kilned, packaged in the giant bales that you love to see getting cut open. But the idea here is Celebration is brewed with like the first load of those hops. They literally talk about racing the harvest back to the brewery so that the freshest of the fresh dried whole cone hops of Cascade and Centennial can get jammed into this kettle. So just wanted to put that out there. I didn't want to get flamed by Beer Nerd Twitter and Beer Nerd YouTube. We are aware that Celebration is not a true wet hopped beer, but it is a fresh hopped beer, whereas our other 2 examples from Castle Danger and Deschutes are true wet hopped, fresh off the vine, into the kettle. Back to the beer review, because I think our talking points are still very valid for one of these most amazing fresh hopped beers. Out of the 3 of them, I definitely think it's the most bitter, which is why it's a good one to buy like 2 12-packs, have a couple each week, but make sure you've got at least like a grip, a 6 or 8 for the actual holidays, because it is a great Christmas beer. Pairs well with like rich roasted meats, piney kind of treats like cardamom bums and whatnot.
And with that deeper malt character,
for sure.
Yeah. That's as those hops dissipate over the next month or 2, it's still going to play well and still be a fantastic beer.
Right. It's almost like session American barley wine.
Yeah.
As I'm sitting here, I'm like, well, Bigfoot, it has a Bigfoot-like character to it.
Yeah.
But not
sessionable.
The booze
exactly.
and the depth of like,
okay,
now I'm drinking a very...
and probably pretty close to that same color, too. Wow. Chip, you're on a roll.
They list Chinook, Cascade, Centennial, but in the storytelling bit, they only mention Cascade and Centennial as being the fresh hop, so I assume that means bittering charge of Chinook, maybe even throughout at some other place. So I would say the one thing that's different about this is that I would trust this to hold up longer because of the bitterness, because of the maltiness, to your point.
Exactly.
Not sure sitting on this for a month until Christmas or beyond is the best idea.
Drink
just
them now.
Drink it now.
Bright, fresh, clean, and not that this is... this is just going to be more durable for a month or 2. Yeah.
That's a great word. Durable. All right. I don't know if you live near MSP, but if you do, Fitty, the folks at Thomas Liquor, might have these, but they're definitely going to have something that you want. Wherever you live, try to find a fresh hop beer and embrace. It's like one of the few kind of things you can be obsessed with that has this weird harvest thing. Because so many things in our country are just like, get carrots all year. Get tomatoes all year. But like really, these beers speak to this time of year.
Yeah.
I would say between Oktoberfest and Imperial Stouts.
Right.
Our fresh hop beers. For the beers of winter.
Right.
We're gonna do the last bit of hops. It's almost like the setting sun on
Exactly right.
daylight
right.
hop light.
Yeah,
savings.
exactly. We got less daylight and less. It's like a metaphor for the hops just going away. So drink in the light, drink in the hops.
Yeah. Tell us your favorite fresh hop beer. Put that in the comments below. If you make fresh hop beer, tell us your techniques. Help us help other people be better beer lovers and beer brewers. We like to say chop for chop, brew for brew. You ready? Chop for chop.
Brew for brew. Sweet, dude.
Good job, Fitty, dude. We could carry a talk show.
Oh, fuck
Look
yeah.
at us. We could be like good cop, good cop.
Right?